It is said that learning is the only asset which grows by sharing. We learn from each other, and hence, collaboration is the essence of knowledge. We might be citizens of different countries, but we inhabit the same planet. And to become true citizens of the world, we need to know and appreciate various cultures. And hence, international collaboration becomes of primary importance. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. We are thankful to our visionaries who constantly provide us with new opportunities. Today, on the occasion of World Read Aloud Day, we, the faculty and students of Bal Bharati Public School Noida, are proud to be partners with Park Magnet School USA to mark this day. I take this opportunity to introduce to you today's members of the webinar. Ms. Vinaya Pujari, Headmistress Primary, Ms. Smriti, PRT Social Studies, Ms. Mamta, PRT Librarian, and myself, Ms. Sarmishtha, PRT English. We thank Ms. Amy Ratcliffe for her initiative to celebrate the event.
Hello, friends. My name is Mrs. Ratcliffe, and I am the librarian here at Park Magnet Elementary. We are located in Hot Springs, Arkansas, in the United States.
The theme for this year is Lost and Found. We have lost our near ones. We have lost our freedom to travel. We have lost mixing up with our friends and family. We have lost the opportunities of being together. With so much loss, the apt question is, what have we found? We have found that humans across the globe are equally vulnerable. On this day, we will share a story from the novel Malgudi Days by Mr. R.K. Narayan, a renowned Indian author. The story, The Missing Mail, which relates to the theme Lost and Found of Read Aloud Day. Before reading the story, let us understand the culture and traditions of the plot of the story.
Thank you, Sharmishta ma'am. Mr. Narayan was a simple man who was awarded in the field of literature. His famous book, Malgudi Days, is a collection of 32 fictional stories set in a small, beautiful town called Malgudi in South India. Every story is based on the problems faced by the nation in general during that era. The Malgudi Days story has been applauded around the world. South Indian culture is essentially the celebration of the eternal universe through the celebration of the beauty of the body and femininity. It is exemplified through its dance, music, clothing, and sculptures. It represents the Indian colonial period, especially the Indian society from 1920 to 1930. The novel explains how the long British rule transformed the century old Indian culture into a hybrid one. Let us continue to travel from the northern part of the country where we are located to the southern part of the country through a Google map. So this is where our prestigious school, Bal Bharati Public School Noida, is located, the southern part of India. So it's South India where I'll take you in just few seconds. So here we go. Let us continue the session of reading aloud with Bhav.
Life is about making right things and going on. This is the famous quote by R.K. Narayan. He was an Indian English writer. His famous book is Malgudi Days. This book includes 32 short stories, all set in the fictional town of Malgudi located in South India. All the characters of this book live in this imaginative town. They are common people. They go about their daily business and lead simple lives. Mr. Narayan is one of those few authors who can convey extremely rich emotions through his stories in a simple, understandable language. He gives more importance to the character rather than the plot. His stories convey innocence and give an insight into India's colorful and variant life. Simple irony is portrayed in his stories. Today we read The Missing Mail. It is a short story taken from Malgudi days. It is a story about an affectionate, sincere, and conscientious postman Thanappa who understands the value of human relationships.
The Missing Mail. Though his beat covered Vinayak Modali Street and its four parallel roads, it took him nearly 6 hours before he finished his round and returned to the head office in Market Road to deliver accounts. He allowed himself to get mixed up with the fortunes of the persons to whom he was carrying letters. At number 13 Kabir Street lived the man who had come halfway up the road to ask for a letter for so many years now. Thanappa had seen him as a youngster and watched him day by day growing on the pile, sitting there and hoping for a big prize to come his way through solving crossword puzzles. No prize yet, he announced to him every day. But don't be disheartened. Your interest has been delayed this month somehow, he said to another. Your son at Hyderabad has written again, madam. How many children has he now? I did not know that you had applied for this Madras job. You haven't cared to tell me. It doesn't matter. When I bring your appointment order, you must feed me with coconut payasam. And at each of these places, he stopped for nearly half an hour. Especially if anyone received money orders, he just settled down quite nicely with his bags and bundles spread about him and would not rise till he gathered an idea of how and where every rupee was going. If it was a hot day, he sometimes asked for a tumbler of buttermilk and sat down to enjoy it. Everybody liked him on his beat. He was a part and parcel of their existence, their hopes, aspirations, and activities.
Of all his contacts, the one with which he was most intimately bound up was number 10, Vinayak Mujali Street. Ramanujam was a senior clerk in the Revenue Division office, and Tranappa had carried letters to that address for over a generation now. His earliest association with Ramanujan was years and years ago. Ramanujam's wife was away in the village. A cart arrived for Ramanujam. Thanappa, as was his custom, glazed through it at a sorting table itself. And the moment they were ready to start out, went strange to Vinayak Mujali Street. Through in the ordinary course over 150 address predicted it. He went strange to Ramanujam's house, knocked on the door and shouted, "Postman, sir, postman." When Ramanujam opened it, he said, "Give me a handful of sugar before."
Happy Father, after all these years of prayers, don't complain that it is a daughter. Daughters are God's gift. You know, Kamakshi, lovely name. Kamakshi, he addressed the tall bashful girl. Years later, get your car photo ready. Ah, so shy. Here is your grandfather's card asking for your photo. Why should he want it, unless it be? The old gentleman writes rather frequently now. Doesn't he, sir? He asked Ramanujam as he handed him his letter and waited for him to open the envelope and go through its contents. Ramanujam looked worried after reading it. The postman asked, I hope it's good news. He leaned against the veranda pillar with a stack of undelivered letters still under his arm. Ramanujam said, My father-in-law thinks I am not sufficiently active in finding a husband for my daughter. He has tried one or two places and failed. He thinks I am very indifferent. Elderly people have their own anxiety. The postman replied, "The trouble is," said Ramanujam, "that he has set apart 5,000 rupees for this girl's marriage and is worrying me to find a husband for her immediately. But money is not everything." "No, no," echoed the postman. "Unless the destined hour is at hand, nothing can help." Day after day for months, Thanappa delivered the letters and waited to be told the news. Same old news. Thanappa, horoscopes do not agree. They are demanding too much. Evidently, they do not approve of her appearance. Appearance? She looks like a queen. Unless one is totally blind. The postman retorted angrily. The season would be closing with only 3 more auspicious dates, the last being May 20. The girl would be 17 in a few days. The reminders from her grandfather were becoming fiercer. Ramanujam had exhausted all the possibilities and had drawn a blank everywhere. He looked helpless and miserable. "Postman," he said, "I don't think there is a son in law for me anywhere." "Oh, don't utter an auspicious word, sir," the postman said. "When God wills it." He reflected for a while and said, "There is a boy in Delhi earning 200 rupees." Makonja of Temple Street was after him. Negotiating for months now. Over 100 letters have passed between them already. But I know they are definitely breaking off. It is over some money question. They have written their last message on a postcard, and it has infuriated these people all the more. As if postcards were an instrument of insult. I have known most important communications being written even on picture postcards. When Rajappa went to America 2 years ago, he used to write to his sons every week on picture postcards. After this digression, he came back to the point. "I will ask Makonda to give me the horoscope. Let us see." Next day, he brought the horoscope with him. The boy's parents are also in Delhi, so you can write to them immediately. No time to waste now. A ray of hope touched Ramanujam's family. "I have still 100 letters to deliver, but I came here first because I saw this Delhi postmark." "Open it and tell me what they have written," said Thanappa. He trembled with suspense. How prompt these people are! So they approve of the photo. Who wouldn't? A letter every day. I might as well apply for leave till Kamakshi's marriage is over. He said another day. "You are already talking as if it were coming off tomorrow. God knows how many hurdles we have to cross now. Liking a photo does not prove anything." The family council was discussing an important question whether Ramanujam should go to Madras, taking the girl with him, and meet the party. Who could come down for a day from Delhi? The family was divided over the question. Ramanujam, his mother, and his wife, none of them had defined views on the question, but yet they opposed each other vehemently. "We shall be laughing stock of the town," said Ramanujam's wife. "If we take the girl out to be shown round, what queer notions! If you stand on all these absurd, antiquated formalities, we shall never get anywhere near a marriage. It is our duty to take the girl over even to Delhi if necessary. It is your pleasure. Then you can do what you please. Why consult me?" Tempers were at their worst, and no progress seemed possible. The postman had got into the habit of dropping in at end of his day's work and joining in the council. "I'm a third party. Listen to me," he said.
Sir,
Please take the train to Madras immediately. What you cannot achieve by a year's correspondence, you can do it in an hour's meeting. Here is a letter from Madras, madam. I'm sure it's from your husband. What is the news? He handed the envelope to Ramanujam's wife, and she took it in to read. He said, I have some registered letters for those last houses. I will finish my round and come back. He returned as promised. Have they met, ma'am? Yes, Kamakashi's father has written that they have met the girl. And from their talk, Kamakashi's father infers that they are quite willing. Grand news! I will offer a coconut to our Vinayaka tonight. But the lady added, half overwhelmed with happiness and half worried. There is this difficulty. We had an idea of doing it during next high month. It will be so difficult to hurry through the arrangements now. But they said that if the marriage is done, it must be done on 20th of May. If it is postponed, the boy can't marry for 3 years. He is being sent away for some training. The old gentleman is as good as his word, the postman said, delivering an insurance envelope to Ramanujam. He has given the entire amount. You can't complain of lack of funds now. Go ahead. I'm so happy you have this approval. More than their money, we need their blessing, sir. I hope he has sent his heartiest blessing. Oh yes, replied Ramanujam. My father-in-law seems to be very happy at this proposal. 5,000 rupee marriage was a big affair for Malgudi. Ramanujam, with so short a time before him and none to share the task of arrangements, became distraught. Tanappa placed himself at his service during all his off hours. He cut short his eloquence, advice, and exchanges in other houses. He never waited for anyone to come up and receive the letters. He just tossed them through a window or an open door with a stentorian, "Letter, sir." If they stopped him and asked, "What is the matter with you in such a hurry?" "Yes, leave me alone till the 20th of May. I will come and squat in your house after that." And he was off. Ramanujan was in great tension. He trembled with anxiety as the day approached nearer. It must go on smoothly. Nothing should prove a hindrance. Do not worry, sir. It will go through happily by God's grace. You have given them everything they wanted in cash, presents, and style. They are good people.
It is not about that. It is the very last date for the year. If for some reason some obstruction comes up, it is all finished forever. The boy goes away for 3 years. I don't think either of us would be prepared to bind ourselves to wait for 3 years. It was 4 hours past the muhurtam on the day of the wedding. A quiet had descended on the gathering. The young smart bridegroom from Delhi was seated in a chair under the pandal. Fragrance of sandal and flowers and holy smoke hung about the air. People were sitting around the bridegroom talking. Thanappa appeared at the gate loaded with letters. Some young men ran up to him demanding, "Postman, letters?" He held them off. "Get back, I know to whom to deliver." He walked over to the bridegroom and held up to him a bundle of letters very respectfully. "These are all greetings and blessings from well-wishers. I believe, sir, and my own go with every one of them." He seemed very proud of performing this task and looked very serious. The bridegroom looked up at him with an amused smile and muttered, "Thanks. We are all very proud to have your distinguished self as a son-in-law of this house." I have known that child, Kamakshi, ever since she was a day old, and I always knew she would get a distinguished husband, added the postman, and brought his palms together in a salute, and moved into the house to deliver other letters and to refresh himself in the kitchen with tiffin and coffee. 10 days later, he knocked on the door and, with a grin, handed Kamakshi her first letter. Ah, scented envelope. I knew it was coming when the mail van was 3 stations away. I have seen hundreds like this. Take it from me. Before he has written the 10th letter, he will command you to pack up and join him, and you will grow a couple of wings and fly away that very day, and forget forever Thanappa and the street. Isn't it so? Kamakshi blushed, snatched the letter from his hands, and ran in to read it. He said, turning away, I don't think there is any use waiting for you to finish the letter and tell me its contents. On a holiday, when he was sure Ramanujan would be at home, Thanappa knocked on the door and handed him a card. Ah! Cried Ramanujan. Bad news, Thanappa. My uncle, my father's brother, is very ill in Salem, and they want me to start immediately.
I am very sorry to hear it, sir, said Thanappa, and handed him a telegram. Here is another, Ramanujam cried. A telegram? He glanced at it and screamed, Oh, he's dead! He sat down on a pile, unable to stand and shock. Thanappa looked equally miserable. Ramanujam rallied, gathered himself up, and turned to go in. Thanappa said, One moment, sir. I have a confession to make. See the date on the card. May. Yes, sir. And the telegram followed next day. That is on the day of the marriage. I was unhappy to see it, but what has happened, I said to myself, and kept it away, fearing that it might interfere with the wedding. Ramanujam glared at the postman and said, I would not have cared to go through the marriage when he was dying. The postman stood with bowed head and mumbled, You can complain if you like, sir. They will dismiss me. It is a serious offense. He turned and descended the steps and went down the street on his rounds. Ramanujam watched him dully for a while and shouted, Postman! Thanappa turned round. Ramanujam cried, Don't think that I intend to complain. I am only sorry you have done this. I understand your feelings, sir, replied the postman, disappearing around a bend.
R.K. Narayan was known for his simplistic writing style, his ability to juxtapose fiction with reality, and to embed simple yet deep lessons in the mind of the reader. With a clever use of just the right amount of humor, Mr. Narayan was able to transform his seemingly ordinary characters into larger than life individuals who brought a change in the existing social and political structures of Malgudi. R.K. Narayan has left us a great deal of knowledge to use and cruise through life. He made India accessible to the outside world through his literature. The English teacher, waiting for the Mahatma, the guide, the man-eater of Malgudi, the vendor of sweets, and the tiger for Malgudi are among the best of his writings. R.K. Narayan, a man with many accolades to his credits. Today we pay a tribute to him on the World Read Aloud Day. With this, now I invite the representatives of faculty from Bal Bharati Public School, Noida, to share their thoughts on the same. I first invite Miss Vinya Pujari, Headmistress Primary, to add on to the Reading Aloud mission.
Unmute, please.
Thank you, Bhav. Thank you so much. And it was so wonderful listening to you all. reading aloud a beautiful story. And now it's time for me to share my favorite book. This is the book. This is the title is Sita, and this is written by Dev Datta Patnaik. This book is about a lady. She is princess. Sita was the princess, and she was captured by a demon king Ravana. And to get her back, her husband Ram wanted to fight with Ravana and get her wife back. So again, it is going with the theme lost and found. You agree, students? So I love this story, and I'm reading out one paragraph from this particular book. The paragraph is about when Rama wanted to fight with demon Ravana. He tried to uh, fetch one last chance for not getting into war. So he sent his ambassador to the king, to the court of Ravan, and that was Angad. He sent his ambassador with a message of peace. Ambassador went to the court of Ravana, and he was there to deliver the message from Ram of peace, that return his wife and there will be no war, or otherwise be ready for a war because my king is going to take away his wife. So I read out that particular incident from this book. Finally, Angada communicated the message. Ram stands outside the gate, ready to attack this city with his army of monkeys. But there can be peace if you return to Ram his wife. A king should care for the welfare of his subject first, not for his own pride or lust. Monkeys do not make armies, scoffed Ravana. They are captured and trained to perform. Ram is your master, and you are his servant. Join me, and you will be free, unbound by such rules. But if you persist, I will treat you like the animals you are, hunt you down, and feast on your flesh. You overestimate your strength. Let me see if there is one Rakshasa here who can move this left leg of mine, and I have firmly planted on the ground, challenged Angada. The Rakshasas laughed and came one by one to yank the leg of the audacious monkey and hurl him into the sea. But all of them failed. Still, Ravana said, I do not fear you, I will kill you and your band of monkeys and your king and that Ram and that Lakshman and that traitor who call himself my brother. Ravana's father Sumali did not like this, make a fool of him. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. It was wonderful listening, and I will take the opportunity to talk about Ruskin Bond. He is an Indian author of British descent. He is considered to be an icon among Indian writers and children's author and a top novelist. Let me read aloud some lines from his novel, Children of India. He is yet to see a train, but he sees planes flying over the mountains almost every day. How far can a plane go? He asks. All over the world, I tell him. Thousands of miles in a day. You can go almost everywhere. I'll go around the world one day, he vows. I'll buy a plane and go everywhere. And with this note, I will call upon Mamta ma'am. Over to you, Mamta ma'am.
Ma'am, I wish you all a very happy Read Aloud Day. And on this special occasion, I just wanted to tell you all about a book from my favorite author, Mrs. Sudha Murthy. And the title which I have selected is The Gopi Diaries. And Gopi Diaries is a series of 3 books specially meant for the children. And it is all about a dog called Gopi. Told in Gopi's voice, the first book, Coming Home, begins with Gopi going to his new home and tells the story of how he settles down with his loving human family, how Gopi sees the world around him, and what he thinks of the people in his life. Give the story a truly unique flavor. Written in Sudha Murthy's inimitable style. These are the books especially meant for you all children. Keep on reading, reading rocks. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mamta ma'am. As we move on further, I am little inspired by Mamta ma'am, and hence I have taken this book, Grandma's Book of Stories by Sudha Murthy. This book is a collection of short stories, and what I really like about this is the author's style of writing. If you refer to any of Sudhamurthi's creations, you will find that she is a very positive and a very relatable person. One of her quotes says, "Mindset has more power than anything else in the world." And yes, this quote truly connects to the theme of Read Aloud Day. We need to have a positive mindset in the current circumstances. With this, we come to the end of today's program. Bal Bharati Public School Noida has a mission to get children hooked to books by inculcating reading habits and learn new values and skills through informal learning and storytelling narratives. In this regard, we have partnered with many schools as part of international collaborations. Today was yet another chapter, but a new beginning to celebrate World Read Aloud Day for many more fruitful experiences. Thank you so much.